Hello and welcome to another This Week in Linux Brief. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Linux conferences. If you've been in the Linux community for any amount of time, you've probably heard a little bit about some of the conferences that are offered. If you haven't heard about any of them, I suggest you check them out. I'll put links to all of these in the sidebar. In just a few days, on February 19th through the 21st, SCaLE, the Southern California Linux Expo, is going to be held. It's going to be held in Los Angeles at the Airport Westin. Tickets for this event are still available, ranging from $10 for one day to $70 for the entire weekend, and students get 50% off. Looks like we've got a bunch of great presentations planned for SCaLE, so if you haven't been to a Linux Expo before and you're in the Southern California area, I highly suggest you at least pay the $10 and go to one day of it. If you're going to pick one day to go, Saturday is always the best day to go. On June 12th and 13th, SELF is being held. SELF is Southeast Linux Fest. It's being held at the Marriott at Renaissance Park in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's got a very similar layout to most of the other Linux conferences. You've got presentations and exhibitors and all those fun things. The great thing about a conference like this is it is free to register. If you'd like to pay for the supporter package, which gets you a t-shirt and drink tickets and lunch and all sorts of fun things like that, it's $65. On July 22nd and 23rd, there's going to be the first ever ArchLinux conference held in Toronto. Looking at the registration fees for ArchCon, it's going to be $100 to $200 to register for it. That's a little bit pricey in my opinion, especially for a first conference, but I guess in order to get their feet wet and to get off the ground, they've got to do that. The details as far as speakers and exhibitors go are still pretty sketchy at this point, but we'll see what happens in the next few months. Of course, the biggest Linux conference is LinuxCon, which is being held August 10th through 12th in Boston, Massachusetts. It's going to be held at the Renaissance Boston Waterfront in Boston. Registration is open until August 9th, and it's $300. Students can get in for $100. I'm not a student anymore, so not going to happen. Another reason why I need to come up with one of those Linux Foundation commercials and see if I can win. From what I've read, Linus is actually going to be at this event, so if you've ever wanted to meet him and you have $300 to spare plus hotel and lodging and travel and all that stuff, it might be worth the trip. And of course, the one Linux conference I'm actually going to be able to go to this year is OLF, Ohio Linux Fest. I've gone for the last 2 years and it is a ton of fun. Usually somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 people show up for this event. It's going to be September 10th through the 12th at the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio. They've got a bunch of tutorials and classes offered on Friday that I believe you have to pay for. They've got a bunch of exhibitors and presenters coming on Saturday. It's always a load of fun, and the after parties and the pre-parties are a ton of fun. You get to meet some of the bigger names in Linux, and of course, as usual, Ohio Linux Fest is completely free to register, or you can pay the $65 supporter fee. Well, that's about all I've got to say about conferences this year. If there's another conference that I've left out, feel free to mention it in the comments below, and I'll do some more research on it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.